How's about you?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I see my camera is still not working today. I'm going to take this laptop and throw it over the wall. Yeah, I should rather do that to Windows. Sorry, no, it's not the laptop's fault.
So clearly switching on and switching off doesn't work anymore.
Nah, it seems today nothing's working. It's one of those days.
All good.
So yeah,
Don't worry, we remember what you look like. It's
yeah,
all right.
I'll just be undercover today. Sorry about that.
Hi,
Yeah,
Delwyn. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks yourself.
Also good, thank you.
very
That's
good.
good.
Good. I see we get more note takers than people. I always like I love with the new sort of the way the note takers work, because like when you set up the meeting and you get to the meeting and then the note taker's there but the person's not there. It's like, are they coming? I'm not sure. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, all good. I'm assuming one or two more will will chime in. I'm not 100% sure. So let's give them a moment or two. And we'll see. While we're giving them a moment, how'd you guys go last week with messages and stuff?
Well,
Delwyn, please.
And actually more with finding of people than messages, but both.
yeah. I did do some searches in different fields, and I found some people, and I was enabled to connect. I could only send 5 personal connects with a personal message, but I sent a few more with them, and I've connected to most of the ones I've sent out, and then sent them a thank you, but I haven't heard anything since.
Okay, well
But
done. That's the start. Yeah, but we like
but
butts. Here it comes. Tell
I'm
us.
very impressed to say
Yeah.
that someone is hiring me to do bookkeeping work on QuickBooks in Toronto.
Ah, fantastic. So
Well done.
how did you pull that one off?
He found me on LinkedIn.
Okay, there you go. See?
Searched LinkedIn because I said to him at first, I'm in South Africa. He said, no, I want South Africans because I know where they work and I'm
They
very
work
happy.
hard, yes, you see? There's good
So,
thing. Well,
yeah,
congratulations. I
but
think
it's
that's fantastic.
thank you. But it's all, it's a sum of everything of posting daily so that my feed stays up in the the
Your post up in the feed.
algorithm
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
people see. So when they search, I appear in the top thing rather than the person who posted one post 6 months ago.
Yeah. So LinkedIn's kind of interesting. So they've got this social selling index that most people don't pay any attention to, but there's like a bunch of sort of components, right? So if you look at it, that's essentially LinkedIn saying to you, this is how we want you to use the platform. So the stuff that we're doing counts for 25% only of that. Then there's obviously the posting that you do. There's also the engagement that you do with other people's posts. It's what does your profile look like? So okay, so maybe we've done 50%. And then it's also looks at kind of like who are the people that you're engaging with. Are you engaging with your network, etc. So there is quite a lot more to it, and as you start to add it all together, it becomes cumulative. So what you might not realize, and like Delvin's story is like a great example of that, right? Is that a lot of the stuff that we do, LinkedIn actually gives us quite a lot of collateral love that we're not even aware of. So remember, LinkedIn is, I'm guessing they've probably got about 1.2 billion people now worldwide. So when you sort of start to look at it, there's an algorithm that has to control 1.2 billion people, right? And so the algorithm is obviously designed to look at what we do. And so the minute that we upgrade our profiles, which is kind of where we started, like then you go up in the estimation, right? And it elevates you, and then you start sending out some messages and things, and then it sees, oh, actually messages are coming back, and then also the LinkedIn AI starts to work out the type of people that you're connecting with, right? because if you've got a niche, like we've discovered here, you'll start to see that LinkedIn starts to work out who those people are, and then it starts to recommend you to them. For example, puts you in the feed, and every little bit that we do, and like in Darwin's case, because she's posting content, she's even higher up the rankings in that algorithm. Every extra little piece that you do drives you forward, and so like a lot of you haven't even got into necessarily because we've only really just started the outreach. Quite a few of you have actually had some business from it, and it's because, quote unquote, they found your profile. It's not just the fact that you fix your profile, that's all the other little pieces that we're doing around it. But the fact that your profile is good definitely plays a major part. So yeah, congrats.
Thank
It's
you
a
so much.
great story. Yeah.
I'll still be continuing on my business side because he'll also start just through Upwork so that we get to know each other. And then, yeah, I'll continue focusing on my advancing in my business.
And your terrible jokes.
And
Your
my terrible jokes.
Your mom jokes.
Yeah.
So any questions from last week from any of you? Did you guys try anything? Did you bash your heads? What worked, what didn't?
James, maybe you're going to discuss it later today. I'm not sure if my question is relevant now. But if you look at your existing contacts and you approach your existing contacts, so it's not a new contact that you say, thank you very much for making contact, but your existing list and you want to send out a message to them.
Yep.
How do you go around doing, okay, I want to approach 20 today. How do you pick them from all your connections? And second of all, once you've sent out, let's say 20, and next week you want to send out the next 20, how do you know where you've stopped and where you started and now you've already sent messages out to, the whole practical thing about approaching your existing connections?
LinkedIn's a pain in the ass when it comes to this. Is the short answer to your question. So which is not in the scope of what we're talking about here, but essentially the next step is using automation tools. So typically automation tools do two things. Okay, thing number one is they send messages, for want of a better description. Thing number two is they scrape data, right? The problem that we have with LinkedIn is they say, oh, it's your data, and they tell you it's yours, your connections are yours, you can have them, and then you say, can I download them? And they say, sure. Then you try and download them, and you look at the information that they give you, and you cannot use it. It is rubbish. Right, so the question is, how do you get it? The only way that I think you can do that from a realistic way that stuff doesn't fall out the side, so to speak, and you don't lose it, is using an automation tool and building up a database of your people and then putting it into something like Excel or putting it into a CRM, because it's quite difficult on LinkedIn. So like if you had Sales Navigator, for example, let's say you had 1,000 connections, you could go in and use the filters that are relevant to where your business is now. So all of the changes that we made, and that might only be 300 people. Then you would have that list, and then you could you could, if you had the scraping tool, you could scrape that because that every time you do the search, that everything changes order and that. So you kind of need to get it and to grab it. So yeah, it's not a simple answer. If you're just using, say, LinkedIn, it's one of the reasons they want you to upgrade. Because if you were on Sales Navigator, you could build a list, and then you would know. Because now you could say 20 to off the list, tick them off. The next 20. Basic LinkedIn, very difficult to do that. In fact, there's no real logical way. I mean, you could go into your first level connections and copy paste them, and then you'd have a list of no, but like who's got time for that? That's just like insane. But that's really the only way if you're using basic LinkedIn and not Sales Navigator. So it's not the great answer, I know, but automation tools that's the way to go.
Is there tools that you can recommend, or
there are. I use a tool called DuckSoup. There's others, but you need to be very careful with that shit, as you get yourself in a lot of trouble very quickly. So just be extraordinarily careful when you're using them, because technically they're against LinkedIn's terms of service. LinkedIn doesn't like us using them, but again, if you use them responsibly, they sort of turn a blind eye, or the algorithm doesn't catch you. That's probably more to the point. But yeah, that's a whole session in and of itself, how to do that. So, all right, let me talk to you a little bit about what I wanted to show you today, and then we can talk about kind of next steps. I haven't given a lot of thought to, because today we'll sort of finish up. In fact, I was going to finish last week, but then I realized for some of you, I think today just adds the bit probably that you're missing, in terms of how do we go about finding clients. So if we hang on, let's just do the traditional move everything over there to the screen. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I probably don't need to go through all of this. Let's just start where we were last week, and just have a look at this. Yeah. So by and large, last week we looked at the filters, and we saw that if you look at the LinkedIn filters sort of compared to the Sales Navigator filters, they're relatively limited in what they can do. So people like Marion, for example, not always that easy to just plug something in here. And it's like, okay, well, how do I find people? Sales Navigator, it's a little bit easier, but sometimes in terms of some of it's not always that easy, right? So I want to add a couple of strings to the bow to give you guys a little bit more ammunition, and to sort of allow you, if you like, to start thinking outside the box. So the first thing I want to say to you is that I want you to think about it this way. If you're looking at this and you're looking at all these filters, right, that we have, whether it's the basic LinkedIn filters, the Sales Navigator filters, when you look at the different filters, think about it this way. When you conceptually understand it, life sort of makes a little bit more sense. So LinkedIn has this massive database that it has created. Now, in order for it to use that database, it's got two separate products. The free product called LinkedIn, which is the one everybody has, and then Sales Navigator, which we pay for, right? So when you go ahead and you look at that, in order for LinkedIn to pull the data that we request into this, particularly if they are charging us money for it with Sales Navigator, the question is, how do they access this database in order to present this information to us? And actually, it's relatively simple conceptually from our perspective. If you look at your LinkedIn profile, okay, the LinkedIn profile that we all have is just a template. It's an unbelievable one-page template, but that's all it is. Everybody gets the same template, right? So this is great. Now the database is very easy for LinkedIn to pull, because it says if I'm looking for a keyword, then do this. Go to that part of the LinkedIn profile, because that's where the database is going to pull the information from. Okay. And if you just think about it that way, ultimately you can reverse engineer whatever is going on. So if you think to yourself, how do I find something? Then you can reverse engineer it to go back to the profile. And probably the most logical way that this will develop for you is you do a search, right? And then you look at the search results, and every now and again you'll look at something and you'll think to yourself, how the hell did that get into this search criteria that I put there? Like there's no correlation. Then what you can do is you can open the profile, and then you can try to trace it back, and eventually you'll kind of work out how to fill in the dots, right? And so that is a great way for you to kind of understand how it works, where it pulls the data from, and how it presents it to you. Now, at a very high level, there are a couple of implications. So when you get onto LinkedIn, or you get onto Sales Navigator, this search box up here, right, that you type into, this is the worst filter from the perspective if you're trying to find something very specific. It's like when you go into Google and you type financial advisor. It's like it's broad as anything. It's exactly the same on LinkedIn, right? How it works on LinkedIn is whatever you type in here, what LinkedIn is going to do is it's going to go to the profile and it's going to search the entire profile. So if I type in the word owner, just as an example, into one of these boxes, what it's going to do is it's going to look at the whole profile. So if I have made reference to the word owner anywhere, it's going to bring it up because it's on the profile somewhere. And the person might have been an owner 3 businesses ago, but they've sold that business or they've packed it in and now they've been working for somebody for the last 18 years. It's like if I'm trying to find owners, not so good, right? But because I've typed it in here, it's brought it up. Now, obviously, the search engines are relatively intuitive, and hopefully those results will be further down. But that's the sort of thing that's going to happen. So when you use the search bar here, you need to be cognizant that it's searching the entire profile. Okay, so it's very broad. And unless you're going to do some of the cool stuff I'm going to show you today, it's not a great way to search. For example, like if we go back to this, right? If we go back here, let's say we're looking for industry, right? And I'm typing accounting or accountant. That's not the correct use for that because I can find accountant anywhere. Okay, when I'm looking for other information, sometimes what it will do is it will search an entire section, right? So for example, if I do type the word, say, accountant into one of these search boxes, it might go to the experience section and it will search every piece of experience. So if I've had 6 jobs in my lifetime, it'll search all 6 and it will produce the result, right? In rare occasions, it will pull the information from one very specific place. And you might remember last week I told you about the job title. Like that's the key one. And you'll remember we spent a lot of our time saying, what are people going to search for when they look for you? And the reason that I did it on that piece of information and that piece only was because that is the piece of information that we as users type in. Typically, it's always going to be correct, right? Because if you change your job, you will change your job description. So it's the most accurate piece of data. It's the piece of data that the user has consistently updated, right? And it tends to be very factual and straightforward. And so therefore, it is also one of the most used filters for people that are searching, whether you search on LinkedIn or Sales Navigator, right? And that's why I said to you that's important, and that's why when you're searching, you want to try to use current job title. It's a very good indicator, right? So that's kind of the background, right? Just to set the scene for today, and to bring things forward. So the question is, like, what is a good way then to use the search boxes? And answer is a little thing called Boolean search. So Boolean search on LinkedIn works in a similar way, but has some very specific rules on LinkedIn. So similar to how you would search on Google or YouTube. And if you really want to find out more, just Google Boolean search. There's a million articles on it. But I'll give you the basics and kind of show you some ways to actually use it. But really what it is as you can see here, it's a type of search that allows you to combine keywords with operators or modifiers. So a keyword, and we use this in SEO, is a single word or a number of words, a string of words, right? So if I type in accountant in Johannesburg, that quote unquote is a keyword. It's not keywords, right? So it's taking the keywords, right? Whether it's one word or a string of words, we add these modifiers, and here are the big 3 for LinkedIn: and, not, and or. And you'll notice they're in capital letters, and that's because when you use them, you must put them in capital letters for LinkedIn to use them effectively, right? So an example here would be something like if I type in the word hotel, and then I say and in capital letters New York, then when the results come out, okay, somewhere on the page, because remember I'm typing it into the search bar, it's going to look at the entire profile. If it finds the words hotel and the word New York, right, then and only then will it present it to me. So if you're a hotel in Miami, I don't want to see the result, right? Both words have got to be there. And so as you can see, this is going to limit the search results, right? So when you put and in, your search criteria or the number of results will reduce because both of those, or you can add as many and strings as you like. Okay, so here's the key down here, right? So Boolean becomes really, really powerful when you combine it with other search filters. So what I'm saying to you is use what I taught you last week. So you go on based on what you're selling, based on who our ideal client is or our niche, and do your best to find them. So you start off and you use the LinkedIn filters. Then you can go over right to the Boolean filters, and now you can do some other cool stuff, which I'm going to get into with you. Or you could start with the cool stuff and then go back to the filters and say, okay, I don't want all these people, I need them to be very specific to me, and you can use the filters. But you'll see when you combine the two, this allows you to broaden very significantly often the base of people that you're looking at. And for some of you where the filters in and of themselves are not fantastic, they don't give you wonderful results, like Marion, she comes to mind, you would then be able to think outside the box and be able to use the Boolean search, and particularly the search box, whether it's on LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. So let's have a look at the Boolean search string. So the first one, obviously, most of you will know this, but just for the sake of completeness, is obviously parentheses. So whenever you have a search string, in other words, more than a single word, and you need to be in exactly that order. So if I'm saying chartered accountant, I put it in inverted commas, because if I don't, I'm going to have chartered secretaries and chartered ship company and chartered all sorts of shit. I want the word chartered accountant specifically in that order to appear, or certified public accountant. Then you must put it in inverted commas, okay? So just golden rule, if it's more than one word, it's in inverted commas. That's it, right? Next thing is the not. Now, personally, this is the one I tend to use the most, right? And as the word would indicate, it's an exclusionary modifier. So what you're going to do, as you can see here, again, you're going to type it in capital letters, and you type it immediately before whatever it is that you want to exclude. Okay, so when I'm searching for accountants, for example, I want accountants, but I don't want bookkeepers in this particular example, because technically a bookkeeper is an accountant, right? And so all the search engines, they use what are called semantic keywords, so they kind of link everything together. But no, it might say something about accountant, but if there's bookkeeper on there, I don't want it. So this is very simple. What it's going to do is, let's say I start a search, right, and I've got 100 people on the search, but I go through the search and I see, well, there's a bunch of bookkeepers, and I couldn't be bothered to go through all 100. So I quickly go up to the search bar and I type this in, accountant, not bookkeeper, and maybe it removes, I don't know, 43 results. Now I'm left with 57, but those 57 will not have bookkeepers, and it will just be accountants, right? Hopefully the penny's starting to drop, because this is a great way to make your searches better by removing the words that keep coming up when you're looking for people you don't want. Okay, so that's the not. This is the one I use the most. The or tends to broaden things, right? So as you can see here, again, or in capital letters. So once you do that, what's going to happen is it's going to broaden it, and it's going to add things. Right? So if I'm doing a search, like for example, this one here, where I say account or auditor or bookkeeper, it will bring up any profile where those words appear. So whether the word accountant appears, or the word auditor, or the word bookkeeper, fairly obvious. So what it's doing is it's broadening the base. Okay. Sometimes you want to do that, sometimes you don't. And then, of course, the and, which is kind of the restrictive one, as we've already discussed. It tends to limit the search because it's got to have each of the words or the phrases that are separated by the and in capital letters. So sometimes, again, that's useful. Where this actually becomes the most useful, actually, is this here, is when you start to create Boolean search strings, as it were. So using the, as we see here, the parenthetical searches, so brackets, right? So when we're doing this, this helps you to take more complicated stuff and to just sort of drill it down into something that becomes easy. So in this example that we see here, right, if I'm looking for accountants, or people with accountant on their profile, but I want to exclude a number of words, so trainee or intern. So I don't have to say, I could say accountant, not trainee, not intern. That's one way I could do it. Or if I use brackets, I could just say accountant not, and then I'll open the brackets, and then it's trainee or intern or bookkeeper or clerk or and I can go on. I think you get up to 25 different things you can put in. different keywords into a string. And then what you would do is you would save it somewhere, like in a Word document or a notepad. And so every time you come up and you know that those people are excluded, you can simply copy and paste it into the search box. So that's kind of a cool way to use this. And then just for completion, this is the order in which stuff happens. It's fairly obvious. It's kind of like all of us go back to school and think of algebra. So when you are typing in a search string, the first thing obviously it looks at is quotes. So like chartered accountant, it's got to pick the terms. Then it'll deal with whatever is in the brackets, and then the words firstly not, then and, then or. Honestly, this is obvious when you do it. I'm just, if something goes wrong and you can't figure out a search, just come back to this. That's the order in which it gets executed, but relatively simple and straightforward. So let me just pull this back quickly. Does that all make sense to you guys? Because like this shit I'm showing you now is actually unbelievably powerful. I've shown you the first piece. I'm going to show you some more in a minute, which really opens it up. A lot of people don't use this. They don't get it. And as I say, particularly when you combine it with the filters, you find like amazing stuff. All right. We'll come back to questions in a bit. So here's kind of what I like to do with it. All right. So I like to do niche specific stuff in that search box using the Boolean filters. Right. So if you're looking for people within a specific niche and you know that niche particularly well, right? There's going to be some stuff, and this that I've got here is very generic to virtually any niche that exists, but there'll be other stuff also, right? So most of the niches are going to have some stuff. So the first thing they're going to have is associations. Okay. I don't think there's any flippant business that doesn't have an association today, right? So sometimes by talking about the association, you will be able to find them. So if I'm looking for chartered accountants and I said SAICA, the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, there are going to be a bunch of accountants that have listed SAICA somewhere on their profile, right? Because they got articles with SAICA, because they work there, or they did work there, or they just want to tell you about it, right? So because I know that and I put it there, I'm going to be able to find accountants that other people won't find because they're not using the keyword. Or URBA if I'm looking for registered auditors, right? Anybody that puts URBA, IRBA, on their LinkedIn profile is an auditor, full stop. Like there's no other person in the world that puts that on. There's no reason to. So if I'm looking for auditors, that's a great way for me to find them. And it's going to be the same for you, for every niche that you have. So the better you know your niche, the easier this becomes. Okay, and this is where specialization, particularly industry specific stuff, really helps. The next thing is software. Okay, every industry today has their own software. Some Oak has developed a software as a service solution where somebody's going to pay a monthly fee to use the software, and in most cases, well worth it, right? They've solved a lot of problems. So again, let's just stick with the accountant example. So accountants will use software like Xero. Most of us know Xero, you know, or Sage or Pastel or QuickBooks. Again, I can use those various keywords to find them. So Xero, for example, has a program with accountants, and they go through the program and they are known as Xero partners, and then they get various levels, and they can and there's some perks that come with that. So people are very proud to put on their profiles, I'm a gold partner, etc., etc. Okay, Xero partner or authorized Xero partner. So again, if I was to go and type the word accountant, let's say, and I say and, right? And then I in inverted commas, I say Xero partner, Xero spelled Xero, right? It's very specific. Then it's going to give me all the people that use Xero, right? So not Pastel or QuickBooks. I can do the same for them. So hopefully you can see how this is starting to work. So even somebody that doesn't tell you on their profile specifically that I'm an accountant or I'm a bookkeeper or I'm whatever, but but because of what they've put on the profile and our ability, because we know the niche particularly well, to find these keywords allows us to find people that you ordinarily wouldn't find. Like this stuff is amazing when you start to use it, right? Next thing is going to be designations and job titles. What do the people you want to deal with call themselves, right? Again, if they're professionals, they'll have things behind their names like CASA, Chartered Accountant South Africa, or CIPA, or Registered Auditor RA, right? Because there's some sort of profession, somebody has anointed them, and they've done some work to get the accreditation. So fair play to them, and they put it out there. So this helps us. But people are going to call themselves different things, right? If you look for someone in sales, then you need to know that there's a sales manager, sales director, an SDR, a BDR, etc., etc. You need to go work out what all of those terms mean within that industry, and then you can start to search and be very specific within what it is that you're looking for. Okay, so hopefully this is starting to make a lot of sense to you. So by really knowing who your ideal client is, you have this ability to kind of think outside the box and think about keywords that ordinarily you wouldn't be thinking about and are not obvious on LinkedIn. So for some of you, you're going to look at it and say, oh, I don't know how to find these people. Or think about other things, like let's look at number 4 here. So there might be other things that are specific to your niche. Like, do they follow, I don't know, particular gurus? Like maybe people who follow, say Tony Robbins as an example, who's into the self-development space. Or maybe you find that when you're dealing with people that are into self-development who mention that on their profile. So there's a keyword for you, self-development. Or personal development, whatever the case may be. So think about all of these things. Like I know a lot of financial advisors, for example, they look at their client base, and a lot of their clients do very similar stuff. Like a lot of them are golfers, for example. So, okay, let's find the golfers, or they fly fishermen, or they're into exotic cars, etc. So all of those things allow you to find a group of people. And if again, remember we spoke a little bit about your own personality, your own interests. Well, find people with interests similar to yours and then start a conversation based on that. Right? If you don't know what the hell to say. I promise you, when one person that has a passion speaks to another, that conversation always happens. The connection request gets accepted and the conversation happens. Right. So this stuff is really, really powerful. So use this idea rather in the search box and any of the Boolean search terms that you want to put in there. Use that in there as opposed to say I'm looking for accountants or whatever, because that's just too broad. But this actually narrows it. This narrows it down very specifically to your niche, because this is all niche specific stuff. And then you can use the rest of the filters to find the people that actually fit into the box that you want them to. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you been able to put number of employees in a Boolean sentence there or not?
Not really.
Not
Not on LinkedIn. Again, they want you to pay for that, so that's a Sales Navigator feature. No, you won't be able to find it. No. Long story short. Short answer to long question,
right.
but no.
And then one other quick question. Do we sign up for the LinkedIn Premium, and then does that give us Salesforce, or do we have to actually...
No. LinkedIn Premium is the biggest waste of money ever. So LinkedIn has got a thing called LinkedIn Premium and a thing called LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Okay.
LinkedIn Premium is rubbish. Don't even waste your money. Unfortunately, Sales Navigator costs more. It costs $1,250 a month. So you can all take a free trial of anything you want, but take Sales Navigator as long as you haven't either paid for or taken a free trial of some product of theirs in the last 12 months. If you know anybody who has Sales Navigator, they can give you a 2 months free trial, which is really useful. I've exhausted all mine. You can only have up to 50. I've given all mine away to clients already. And I was very pissed off when they refused number 16. I was like, what's wrong with you people? Like every single person that I've given this to has bought your fucking product, and now you don't let me give it away. I was so angry. Anyway, it is what it is.
Perfect.
LinkedIn's rules. But if you do know anybody, it definitely is going to make a difference. So can you guys see some real power in this in terms of how you can actually start to find people now? So Marion, you can now start thinking outside the box, right?
Yes,
that
has given me an in.
Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
you don't have to almost verbally attack people, even though that's the problem you solve. But you can think about other ways to find them now. And this Boolean search really does help you. So this really gets you to understand your audience really well. But when you do that, then you can start to think about it. Like let's go, and this goes for everybody. It's like have a look at what has transpired as you've spoken to and dealt with people before, and just try to find those commonalities. Pull those little things out, and you'll find it really useful. Right. So let's.
Does the algorithm look at what people have posted, or only on the stuff that's on their profile?
No, for what I'm showing you here, no, just what's on the profile. But obviously posted, there's another way to find that, right? So let's just go there. Let me, let's just get onto, hang on, let me share this with you. So don't forget, right, when you are on LinkedIn, when you go into LinkedIn and you type something, I'll stick with the accountants. So this example. So when I type the word accountant in, and honestly, the easiest way to activate this is just type something in there. I just type accounting, you can change it. So when I type it, you see that you now have all these options. So the word accountant can be in people, services, jobs, posts, right? So you would go to posts for that. And then you would find the post. So quite useful. Well, let's do this. Just if we go to posts, we get something that's different. So this person might be dealing with accountants, right? She's a senior accountant. In terms of this post, okay, that's not a good one because nothing has happened. And these are all probably relatively new. But you would then go and try to find out, like, there's 4 comments on this post. So if we like this, okay, well, that's just him starting a new job. If you're a meticulous driven accountant, look at you take example, blah, blah, blah. Does he have any engagement? Not really. He's got 3 people that like it. So I can see who liked it. These people here. So if that had any bearing on me, I could go and reach out to them, right? So it's a way to identify people that have got an interest, and you're essentially doing that by keywords or strings or Boolean or whatever. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And again, you've got all of these options. So people is obviously the one we use mostly. Jobs, those would be new jobs that are out there posting, as we've seen. Companies, pretty self-explanatory, but you're finding the company and then you'd have to work back to the individuals. Products not useful for us. We'll find very little in there. Groups I'm going to talk about now. Groups are very cool. Services, yes. So the people that have listed the services on their profile, that's where that'll come up. Events, also very good. So if you join an event, you'll be able to see everybody else who's joined an event. So if there's an event, so let's just, well, actually, let's just use this. Maybe accountant will work. So ask the accountant, right? It's fun, something that's useful. Yeah, you'll see these are not very well attended events at the moment. But if they were, well, let's just click on this. So if I go to this event, there's a button here that says attend. I'm not going to do it, but if I press on, let me just do it. I can attend the event now. So I'm now attending this event. So what's cool about it is it now tells me that there are 4 attendees, and now there's networking opportunities. So if I click on networking, it's going to show me who the 4 attendees are. And if there were 400, it would show me 400 or 10 at a time. So now I can look through these because there's been some interest because of the event I chose. So in my case, I'd be looking for LinkedIn events or sales events or business to business events, right? So you're looking for events that your clients are going to be attending. It's basically the long and the short of it. And then hopefully you will find your ideal clients in here. So again, now you can go back to this, right? This is a bad example. If you had more, it would actually then give you the option to activate all of the LinkedIn filters, but because there's only 4, it doesn't. Then you could use the rest of the LinkedIn filters, you know, to say, just show me people from South Africa, etc., etc. So that is events. So I'm just going to pop back.
That's very useful.
Yeah, very useful. Events is very okay. Let's go back again. All right. So that's events, courses. This is LinkedIn Learning, not that useful, and schools or universities. So if sometimes you're looking for people that have got a specific skill set, and there's only X amount of universities that those people graduate from, use schools. So that you can see there's quite a lot of scope beyond just what you normally think. Just chuck it into a text box. And when you know who you're looking for, you can really think outside of the box. And a lot of these are really, really cool. Okay, so let's talk about, we can come back to that in a minute. Let's talk about some other things. So the first thing to realize is that when LinkedIn shows you the results, or Sales Navigator, like they'll tell you based on your search string, there's X amount, and many times it's thousands or tens of thousands of people. But here's the rub: they will only show you on LinkedIn 1,000 results, and on Sales Navigator 2,500. They show you 100 pages. Okay, there's only 10 on a page on LinkedIn. There's 25 on Sales Navigator. So the question is, okay, this is great, but you cannot tell me there's 5,000 results and you're only going to show me 2.5. Like, I will not sleep at night. I want to know who the other 2,500 are. I need to know, and I need to know now, right? So how do I do that? Well, now you've got to use the other filters to manipulate. So probably the easiest one actually to use is actually location. But essentially, you keep all the other filters the same, and then you just change one of them. So you could use headcount as an example. That's obviously only a Sales Navigator feature. And if you did that, you could do the first search for self-employed, then you remove self-employed, and then you do 1 to 10, then you remove 1 to 10, and you do 11 to 50, right? So you can do that. The easiest way, as I say, for you guys, is probably just going to be location, right? So if you've got South Africa and there's too many people, then just break it into province. If you've still got too many, then you're going to have to break it into major cities. So it really is. They make it hard on LinkedIn because they want you to pay them money. On Sales Navigator, this thing's a piece of cake. On LinkedIn, you got to work hard, but you can if you need to, or you're prepared to. Then the other thing that you want to always try and do, if you can, is use second degree connections. Okay, because remember, your network is first degree, who you're already connected with, second degree, third degree, and people who are members of a group that you are a member of, as long as you've been a member for 4 days. So if you join a group and they've got 200,000 members, right, and there are many groups on LinkedIn that have that, you just added 200,000 people to your network in 4 days, just like that, right? Then all of the other rules of engagement on LinkedIn start to apply. But that being said, the most useful is always going to be second degree connections. And the reason for that is because any second degree connection, by virtue of the way LinkedIn works, is going to have at least one other person who is a first degree connection, right? What you will find, what that means in practice, is that people are a lot more likely to accept a connection request from a second degree connection than a third degree. You'll see this, and LinkedIn likes you to do second. So my best advice, unless you absolutely cannot avoid it, which will only be for a very short space of time when you niche, if at all for you guys, just do second level. Don't do third. Okay. Third, try not to use that. You do it if you have to, and sometimes you will, but try not to. And then obviously first, you don't want, because you already have them. So there's no point in trying to find them again when you are using it for outreach. And then lastly, groups, because groups can be anything. Second level, by far the best. So let's talk a little bit about groups. So thing I like most about groups, very similar to that idea of events, right? If somebody joins a group, right, they're already telling you without telling you that they have an interest in that thing. So for example, if I type in marketing for accountants or social media marketing for accountants, right, there are going to be accountants in that group. I can take it with fairly good authority that those accountants are probably interested in what I do, because going from marketing to lead generation, for most people, that's the same thing, but it's not a very big jump. So when I start my fishing expedition, isn't that a good place to start? Because those people have already told me, hey, I'm actually interested in marketing already. So why wouldn't I start in a group when I know that? Because the name of the group has given an indication of that. And for some of you, again, where it's not so obvious to use the other filters, there's probably groups around the type of stuff that you solve. So there's probably groups with women wanting to grow. There's probably women support groups, etc., etc. You got to do some digging, go find them. But in there are the ideal people, depending on who it is that you want to talk to. Okay, so there you go. That's the example. So what I would say to you with groups, a slightly different philosophy to building your network and connecting. Groups, try to join as many as possible. Okay, there is a limit, which is 100, but it's quite hard to get to 100 groups. Okay, try as much as you can to join groups that have got your ideal clients in them, but it's also okay to join groups of your peers, right? I've discouraged you from doing that when you're connecting in terms of network, but sometimes groups are quite useful, and it's a good way to get to your peers. And again, from there you can often find other information. So maximum of 100 groups. You can only have 20 outstanding requests at a time. So what that means is when you try to join a group, most groups are on LinkedIn are what is known as a closed group, which means that you must apply to join the group, and then there's an administrator that physically has to approve you. Until they approve you, your request is outstanding. You can have 20 of those. So when you try to send number 21 to join the 21st group, LinkedIn says, nope, no can do. You either must wait for somebody to accept your request to join one of the other groups, or you must withdraw. So you can withdraw them. Okay. So what I would suggest all of you to do today is go and find 20 groups, and just, the most ideal groups, preferably where you can find your ideal clients, and go join them or apply to join them. In a month's time, go have a look. Those that haven't accepted you shows the groups are not active, then withdraw them and go do another, however many didn't accept. Right. So the impediment is this 20. So just get it going as soon as possible. Some groups are really quick, some groups won't accept you. It's just how it is. But if you want to see information in the groups, even on Sales Navigator, it won't show you the people in the group unless you are connected to the group. Okay, so that's the only thing you want to do. And this used to be unlimited. They've recently reduced it, so you can actually direct message 15 group members a month for free. It's like, it costs you nothing. It's not a connection request. It doesn't come out of any of your other limits. Just like I'm in a group, you're in a group, I can send you a message. So just the 15, right? I don't think you're even limited to the nonsense with the 300. I think you can write a bit more. So that's a little perk of the groups. So if you're looking at groups on LinkedIn, right? Groups are kind of cool. So let's use this example. Marketing for accountant. Let's just say, all right, marketing for accountant. So what you'll see, so again, you're simply here. You're obviously into groups. Let me. And I'm going to say see all groups. Right now, it's going to technically give me everything. So, surprise, surprise, there's a group called Marketing for Accountants. This group has 2,000 members, right? And it gives me a little bit of a write-up. So if I was to open this group, what you would see is the following, right? It tells me what the group name is. Over here, it tells me there's 2,087 members, and these are all of them. Now, again, I can click to see them all. I'll just open that in a new tab. And because I'm a member of this group, LinkedIn reveals to me who the other members of this group are. So again, now I can go through this and work out who I want to speak to. So at the moment it says message, but that gig only works for the first 15, and then this will change to connect, right? But even I might not want to message you, I might just want to connect. Then it's simple. Let's say I want to connect to Rick. I open him up, I go to his profile, and then it's just a normal story, right? How's it, Rick? Yeah, I like it. If it's got follow, you got to click the more button. That's all, and then connect will come up. And then if you can add a note, you add a note, or you just send, right? It's like follow the dots. It's like color by numbers. So very cool, right? And in order to do that. Now, because I'm a member of this group, I can see all the posts. These are all the dudes that have posted. And again, comments, etc. So I can see all the people that have commented. So it's kind of very similar to what I showed you a little bit earlier about using content, but this is within the group context. I have to tell you, LinkedIn groups are pretty shit. That's a rule. The stuff inside, there's a few that are good, but they're not like Facebook groups. They're pretty iffy. And the reason is because LinkedIn keeps changing their mind on groups. First, then they think it's the best thing, then they promote the hell out of it, and then they ignore it, and then everybody bails out, and then they think, oh, we better follow Facebook, and then they back into it. So groups is not great from that perspective. So the content, you'll see the same Oaks post, look, same guys, all the time, same guys. As I say that, they will change. But there's Todd, there's Lauren again, Lauren, right? So not brilliant from that perspective, but you're going to find some leaders in here. There's some good people to connect to, but for me, the key is who else connected. So people will join groups because they think it's a good idea, and then they never go in there, but that's okay. You're still a member of a group, and I can message you saying, hey, I see you're also a member of the Marketing for Accountants group. Let's connect. Okay, all those other rules that we spoke about before. So if you are not a member, let's go to that now. If you are not a member, so you will know that I'm not a member because it says join. So let's just say this group. So if I open to join this particular group, what I'm going to see is a join button. So I can't access anything up here because I'm not a member. And then if you click see all, it'll tell you about the group, right? So this is the Bookkeepers and Accountant Marketing Group. Are you ready to learn the secrets? Blah, blah, blah. And then there's always some house rules, blah, 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 private, blah, 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 right? And if I'm happy, then I'll click done. But obviously I don't want to join this group, so I won't. But that's the way you do it. And then you just wait, and it automatically happens. And the next time you go in, you remember, and then you can see everybody and you can read the posts. That's essentially how groups work. So the best way to find groups really is just to go on somebody's is to go onto LinkedIn, type your keyword or keywords, and then find them. Another cool thing to do, like for example, let's just do mine. I like to do this a lot. So people that are that use LinkedIn properly will get all the way to the bottom. Now we didn't get here because it's not that important, but when you get to the bottom, there is this interest section. It's right at the bottom, right? So nobody gets there. But what this allows you to do, it allows people to find the interests that are relating to each particular person, and it's related to top voices. So who are the top voices I follow? Okay, a top voice is anointed by LinkedIn. So essentially influencers on LinkedIn. Which companies do I follow, right? Which groups do I follow? And I'll give you the whole list of groups. Which newsletters do I subscribe to? You can see the whole list. Which schools, which are essentially universities. Right? So again, if you're trying to follow the breadcrumb trail, so if you had come to me and said, you know what, he probably knows a bunch of other lead generation groups and LinkedIn groups. Let me just shortcut this because I'm too damn lazy to type shit into the search box. Let's go see what James joined. And then you can see all the groups that I've got, and from here you'll actually begin to be able to start to see, this stuff to do with accounting, There's stuff to do with artificial intelligence. There's stuff to do with financial advisors. You're going to start to work out who the hell I am based on what's going on in my groups, right? There's some networking stuff. So as you start to go through a lot of LinkedIn stuff, like fairly obvious. This is a great way. I often find new stuff by looking at what other people are doing in this space. And so what I'm trying to show you guys is that you can use LinkedIn a lot broader than maybe you are. And there's lots of these little breadcrumbs and these little trails that you can follow to really find good people. So like if you say, oh, I can't find them because they're not there on my filters, well, you have to work a bit harder, but giving you the keys to the kingdom today to show you how to unlock it. Any questions on that? Let me just pull you guys back. I see
Not a question, but just to say this is absolute gold.
Yeah, I thought you might like it. In fact, you're the reason I built this session actually, because I was like, how do I help her? This sucks a bit. Okay, let me go and put more to it. I wasn't gonna some of my good stuff, so I don't always give this away, but I figured I'd give it to you guys.
Thank you. It is absolute gold.
Good.
Also wanted to so if someone like some of your target markets who like has a post, then if they go into the likes of the post, sometimes you'll see other people in the industry that like the post as well. So that's like another way of pulling people.
Yeah, so that was what I was showing you a bit earlier. With when we were looking at the post. So you've got, those different options. Post is one of them, and yeah, follow the bread, follow the trail, find the people that are liking, commenting, etc. So what that allows you to do then, right, is to think about what it is that you're doing. So let's just I'll go into an example in a minute, but let's just say you went in and you said low self-esteem, and you typed that in, right? Just as an example, or self-doubt. Somebody's going to have put that in a post somewhere, and those posts will come up. Then you kind of read and say, oh, okay, that's quite applicable. Let me check that. And then from there, you start to find the people. You'll see who's liked it, depending on the nature of that post. And if it's very similar to the sort of problems you solve, then it's so easy. Now you can start conversations with those people, and you know that they're probably qualified.
So
okay.
I just have like a couple of other questions. So when you follow like other like accountant, marketing influencers, right? They say that like this sort of thing doesn't really work. With like messaging and stuff. But so you gotta build like the connection first and the rapport and like accounting services purchases like a long lead time. So you start the connection first, and then you build it with the content and the touch points and whatever. So that's my question. Should I take it that way where it's just like I'm starting the connection? Because I have all of these people who have accepted my
So you've got two strings to the bow, right? Because you're one of the people that actually post content. You should leverage the crap out of that. Like anybody who likes or comments on anything, you should be connecting with them. Hey, I saw you like my post. Thanks. I appreciate it. Let's connect. Then when they connect, it's like, then you start a conversation. Hey, what did you like about the post? It's like, you should do that, right? Because it resonated.
The recording has stopped.
So kind of do it back to front for sure. If you've got content out there, that's the best place to start. But what I always say to people, and I'm having quite a lot of success because I've actually tweaked my marketing to do this, is that you do a lot of content, but like what now? Right. So I'm busy developing how to do the whole DM thing. I've just built a GPT to do DMs, which I'm testing, and it's working quite well. But
Sorry,
you also
James,
need
your recording stopped.
I got no one. No, my recording is still going. Don't worry. Different recording, not this one. Sorry, what was I saying? I got sidetracked there.
You built a DM.
Oh yeah. So what you should be doing though, even if you're posting content, is consistently building your network. Because remember, who's connecting to you? Okay, people that you want to be connected to, and their network is people just like him, as a rule. Like most people do that. They don't do like I've taught you. So what's going to happen is you start growing the network that you want to attract more and more. As soon as those people start resonating with you and you post content, it starts to get shared to their network and so on and so forth. Also, when you are posting content and you send connection requests and people accept, okay, what happens for the first week or 2 or 3, and this is as we speak, it could change. LinkedIn not like that. It starts to show your content in their feed. If they engage, it continues to show. If they don't, then it'll drop out. So you get double duty with this stuff. The more of this you do, the more LinkedIn loves you. So,
Um,
all right.
no, I've got another question. Like, you know, Miss me and Crystal don't like putting personal stuff in our our DMs, right? So I was just thinking, right, to say, so I'm like 40 years old and I've got like a toddler and I talk about yoga and whatever. Those are my interests. But what if what if I only like niche down into people who only have like toddlers and like yoga? Because then you like double niching. Because now I mean, someone who's like 50 years old is the owner of a business and like, you know what I mean? And he's not really gonna care about my yoga and my toddler.
So
It's like a way of taking it out.
I
Yeah.
don't think you must. I don't think you must fret about that stuff. If you're putting that stuff in, it's not front and center. Sorry, can I just need to deal with the WhatsApps. The guy after this, I see he's messaging me. He's stuck. Well, it might be very beneficial to you guys because now I don't have to go at the right. That stuff that you're putting there is quite a minor part, but it's humanizing you. Okay, so don't worry about it. When you actually start to reach out and you talk to people, you actually want to have a business conversation. That's actually the reality. So even though we talk about starting conversations, sometimes it's an icebreaker to talk about yoga. But the fact that you don't have a toddler doesn't mean you don't need accounting services. But he might have a grandkid that's got who's a toddler. You don't know with these things, so don't think of it like that. It's just to give you a little bit of personality and to show people that there's a real person there.
The last question I've got is, do you have like a standard operating procedure that is like, what do you do like every week? You know, like Monday you do this, Tuesday you do this.
It's going to
Sort of
depend
thing.
for it's different for everybody. So obviously I've got what I do in terms of this system, but like my stuff's got automation, also other shit in it. So
Okay.
like for you, it's connect with 20 people a day.
Like a basic starter, basics kit.
Yeah, the
Like,
basic. Okay, connect with 20 people a day and answer your messages. Like that's it. It's not even complicated. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I need to get to Nontevega. She's been waiting
No
very
problem.
patiently for me for a long time.
Hi, James.
How's it?
I'm good. Yeah.
No, I'm fantastic.
Okay. As you know, I was not here last week, and then when I went to the connection for the notes, I found that the notes that were there were the notes of the 29th. So I was not able to get last week's notes.
Okay, I'll double check, and I might not have done it. If I'm completely, I know that I think about it. Okay. I'll sort that out for you.
Sure.
Did I?
Sorry, James, on the notes side.
Oh, all right. Hang on, I've got my trusty secretary reminding me. So hang on, let me do that while I'm thinking about it. 1 second.
And please post today's as well when at the end of this.
Yeah, I'll do them together. Okay, it's coming. All right. You guys have any other questions? It's not tobacco. No, all good. All right. Anything else you guys want to ask or chat about or discuss? So I'm not really sure what to do with this group at this point, because I've sort of got through what I had intended to do. What would you guys like to do? Let me open it up to the floor. The silence is deafening.
No, I'm not really sure. You've covered so much. And I think now is to just get out there and thought, I mean, I managed to get, being absolutely sick this last week, 50 new connects. So around about there. So, you know, it's just to get out there, and it's a daily, you know, before I do anything with any of the people I work for or my business or anything, I sit down in the morning and I do my marketing, and I market to all the places I do, which is including LinkedIn groups and all the rest of it, and consistency and being on top of it, so that if someone likes something, you go back and you comment and you engage with them. If they want to connect, then I connect. And
Yeah. So just a point on that. If you guys are experiencing what Delvin is, and most of you might, so if you've been using LinkedIn a bit longer, they'll still give you the 300 characters and not so restrictive. But for most of you, it's probably going to be 200. Don't worry about it. Just connect. Send the blank connection. Okay, if that's all you got, do it.
Yeah.
Send 100 a week, seriously, and do it 20 a day. Okay.
Yeah.
Just do 20 a day. Just a little bit of an insight for you guys. If you guys do get onto Sales Navigator and you show some consistency, LinkedIn will actually allow you to double that. So I actually send 40 a day. Not everybody can, but when all the other stuff is in place, and you've got a lot of stuff in place, you just need to pay them for the privilege. Then they'll allow you to do that. So 40 a day is quite a lot. And then obviously, if you were doing that manually, that tends to be quite hectic. So that's where I use the automation. But the follow-up and that is all still manual, depending on what comes back. So send those 20 a day. Be very consistent. Don't miss a day. Like as she said, even though she was sick, is like you can drop the follow-up for a week. In fact, I'm still following up from last year. I hate to tell you this, right? I've been catching up over the last 3 weeks. I'm about 3 days away from being back up to date, right? But that's what happens, and that was cool. I could live with that because I just decided I was taking a complete break in December, and no, just catching up. So that's fine. I just sent a belated message, sorry, gave them a reason for me being late, and everybody's happy with that. So you can drop a lot of other balls, but don't drop the 100 a week, because you can never get that back. Just do it. And I promise you, for most of us, like people are easy to find, and they join at the rate of 3 people per second, right? So it's not like you're ever going to run out of prospects. So maybe what we should do is meet again in a month's time. Reason being, that'll give you guys a chance to implement a bit of stuff, because I actually want to see what you guys are doing, and I need you to bash your heads a little bit, try some stuff, and then make notes and come back and say, oh geez, I can't get this to work. This happened. I sent this request. How do I get this idiot to respond to me because he ghosted me? Then you're going to start to ask some of those practical questions. And let's start with that, and let's see how that goes. Because then at least you've got a little bit of support to get into it. Because I'd really like you guys to use the system, get it to a point where you can actually generate your own clients from it. You know, so not because they found you on LinkedIn, but because you sent a connection request and you started a conversation and you closed the client. Like that's really cool, because when you get to that point, you start to be in control of the business and everything else that's going on. Yeah. So what's that?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Meeting in a month.
Let's just see what does that mean? Oh, as we're in February with 28 days, that means the 12th of March. Okay, 12th of March.
Isn't that? Okay.
James, can you? I think in our calendars, this weekly thing is ongoing forever. Can you just cancel that and put new dates in?
Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll do that, and I'll book a couple of weeks into the future, and then let's see a couple of months, and then we'll see how that goes, how that transpires.
Okay, thanks.
So the other thing, right, that I want to do with all of you, first thing is I want to encourage you to have one-on-one meetings with each other. So you guys took the group in a very different direction to how I had conceived it when I started this. And had it gone the way that I had intended, as we sort of got into it, I would have said to you guys, okay, now have one-on-ones with each other, right? The fact of the matter is, because of the way that this has transpired, you actually know quite a lot about each other. You've learned a lot. But when you have a one-on-one, you really get to know the other person a lot more than you will here. So our kind of first phase with this, the whole intention was that we do get to know each other. And then based on that, we can sort of look and go, who can I work with? And then get to know them better. And hopefully that would be a referral type relationship, right? Not one where you need to pay each other, but where you've seen the people that are here are the people with stickability. So this whole program for me was also I don't want to use the word test, but it was an elimination tool, if you want to call it that way, right? So this is where we are building relationships. So like, I know a lot about you guys. When stuff comes into me, you're the guys that I want to go to in terms of making a referral, etc. Right. So that's kind of where I'd like you guys to be. So hopefully you'll have a chat to one another. I see the chat going crazy. Just see what's up there. I'll get to chat in just a sec. So that's kind of the first thing, and then the second thing is I'm going to want to reach out to all of you separately and just record a Zoom call and ask you about your experience. You know, what was good, what was bad, etc. Again, one of the things that you always want to do when you're working with people, and you guys should all try and do this, is work with people and get those testimonials or those little snippets. And I did this in the past, and it works really well. So what will happen is there's a whole bunch of questions, and I'm happy to send you that in advance so you know what I'm going to ask, because it's not meant to be a surprise. But what happens, because we're quite familiar with each other, and I'm saying for you to do this with your clients as well, you'll see, like, when you start that that I'm asking you questions, and we're trying to get a bit of a response. But like in about 13 seconds, you forget about that, and it becomes a conversation. It's kind of much like we're talking about on LinkedIn, and you'll just talk to me as if you know me, which you do at this point, and you'll answer the questions, and you'll tell me the good, the bad, and it doesn't really matter. It all comes out. And then what's kind of cool at the end is that you're then able to sort of take that information, and then you can sort of break it up. So if you're trying to substantiate something that you did, so I might say to you, so what did you think about my level of knowledge as a LinkedIn expert, right? And then you'll answer the question. And now I've got 10 people have answered the same question. Now I've got stuff to draw from. What did you think about the slides or the materials? What did you like about it? What did you learn? What was exciting? What came that was unexpected? How's this changed the way that you look at LinkedIn? Have you got more clients from before versus after? So all those typical questions that clients ask you or are thinking about when they want to hire you, I'll ask you all those questions in the interview, and you would do the same with your clients. And then you've got little snippets that you can use anywhere, you know, a little testimonial on LinkedIn, or whatever it is. You've got case studies, etc. So all the results are very cool, and I really want you guys now to be able to go to the next level. That's why I'm going to continue it a little bit. The good news for you is I'm building some interesting stuff on the side, and I may well share it with you guys, particularly the GPT on helping you with this, the DMs, because that's the hardest stuff. I always find, even with my clients, they all get to the end and then they get there and then it's like, I don't know what to say. And then what happens is I leave them and then I phone them later and say, what happened? No, I don't know, I'm just not working. It's like, why? You know, and the only reason it's not working is because they don't know how to DM people. They don't know how to start or continue those conversations. So I'm putting quite a bit of effort into that at the moment, and I might share that with you because that's very cool. I'm gonna create a whole course and a whole coaching program around that. So people are going to pay me a lot of money for that information because it's worth it. But it takes what you're doing to the next level, without question. So let's see, many notes. Let's start a bit. Oh, this is going back forever. We don't need to do that.
If you want to show Pranita how to share her 2 months free, because she's got LinkedIn Professional.
You don't want LinkedIn Professional. You want Sales Navigator.
Navigator. Sorry.
Okay.
So she's got Professional, but she doesn't know how to give the free trial. Pranita, I'm happy to take it on.
I'll show you.
Happy.
Glad you asked. I honestly, I
will take it on.
So when you're in Sales Navigator, you will see the little present box up here. If you click on it, right, then you just type the person's name in here. So you know, anyway, I was James. I must be connected to lots of Jameses. So if I wanted to share it with him, I would then click on him, but I can't because he's not eligible for whatever reason. And actually,
you can give 10. Okay.
You can give 10, and then they'll let you do another 5. So I've done all.
Oh, nice.
I can't do any more. It's like idiots.
Free Sales Navigator for everyone.
Why wouldn't you? 2 months helps you a lot, right?
Like 11 people in the school, so all of you can get free Sales Navigator.
So yeah, so that's how you do it. It's quite easy. So
I'm happy. I'll take it on happily.
Put the name and yeah, you guys should do it. It's like there's a lot of power in Sales Navigator.
Don't forget me either, please.
And I would like.
So what I suggest, let me pull this back. What I suggest everybody, just put into the chat your details. So quickly, name, email, phone number, mobile number, or WhatsApp, and LinkedIn profile. While you guys do that, I will read questions. Yeah, I'll do last week. Did I miss anything here?
James, do you ever like a Facebook group or something?
Nah, you're it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have time to manage that. Groups are a flipping undertaking.
I was thinking about more like us sharing each other, you know, not like you managing it type thing.
I might create something. It was kind of like one of the things in the back of my mind. So I just want to see how this develops.
You don't even have to have a nice banner, just so we're all like in the same vicinity of each other.
Just have a group, yeah. But still, I don't, but I'll ask around for you. So in fact, some of you will know. Inga, you'll know. Christala's asking for network groups in Cape Town.
No, Joburg.
You wanted Joburg.
Yeah, I'm in.
You're offering. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon.
My family's in Cape Town, all of them.
I would happily take her with my networking groups because they're amazing with free food and lots of wine in the winelands. So if you're ever down, let me know and I'll take you as a +1. James, maybe you must come and join me.
Yeah, I probably should.
You should probably, because it's a big connection, eh?
Yeah.
Daar
We-
Anna Clara Fontaine is very far away from where you are, but you'll have to probably just get yourself a guest house somewhere.
Like that. You got to pack
It is like
sandwiches.
that. Because you get so much food and then you end up taking food home from the deli as well because you're so drunk, you don't know how you're going to get home. And then it's like, yeah, many nights have been till 10:30 when it ends at like 8.
I can help you with red foxing some cheap accommodation. So let's talk.
No, seriously. So if you guys are down in Cape Town and you want to join a super great networking adventure, let me know. I'm really networking with some great people.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, that
Where are you? Because I'm in Cape Town, Inga.
So the networking event is in Anna Clara Fontaine, which is in the northern suburbs. I don't know if you know where Merendal is, the Merendal wine farm is.
Very vaguely.
So it's very similar to there. It's a very upmarket estate, so it's a very exclusive kind of networking event. It's by invitation only, and I'm always allowed to take a +1. But once you're in and once you get to meet them, then you're welcome to go on your own. There's generally some really exciting talks. I know that they've always got some really exciting people who have a little bit of a chat, and then it's like network. And I've picked up some really amazing clients, like really amazing connections, amazing clients. Yeah, it's been great. And then obviously, guys, just as FYI, Yvonne will maybe be able to give us some more information on that. Kyk nou vir Yvonne se oor, nee, nou nie so rek nie.
Luksum.
The Lekker Network. All right, so if you guys go and Google Lekker Network on LinkedIn, if you guys Google Lekker Network, they're launching into the market in March. Everyone's been very involved behind the scenes. I've obviously also been involved backing her up. But the Lekker Network is going to be an insane network for people, for South Africans to connect with South Africans, and to, there you are going to find a wealth of people, just a wealth of people.
Just to give you guys an idea, Barry Hilton joined about 3 days ago, and he's been creating quite a stir. And it looks like he's going to be at the launch. Launch will be in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Do you have the dates? I have so many things open at the moment. So it is going to be in Cape Town. And look, go onto LinkedIn and follow that, because they will let everybody know. And as soon as the launch is there, I think the price for the normal people to join. And let me tell you guys, having been part of this network now for a couple of months, it is really a fantastic group of people. The founders is just, I think we're 163 founders at the moment, and we are literally across the world. We've got people in the Cayman Islands, South Africans in the Cayman Islands, South Africans in, I'm just thinking about the ridiculous, well, obviously I'm thinking about
America, Singapore, UAE, UK, Netherlands, Australia, New Zealand. There's literally people from everywhere.
It's like far off places, and it's all South Africans, and we're all speaking South African. They're connecting. If you are on there and you need to find something, especially in the international market, or you would like to make an international connection, it's about, listen, guys, this is what I do, and I'm looking for these type of people. And I'm telling you, like, I made one post. John Watson answered me, and it went like bam, bam, bam. These are the people you need to speak with. So it's great to be part of a community of like-minded people that understands your sense of humor, that has actually invested interest in growing your business because you're South African. Keep an eye open. As soon as the memberships are saving, I don't know what the membership fees are going to be. I don't think the meeting then have decided, but or have made that public. But as soon as that is available, to join in on that network. And it's not about saying, posting adverts and this is what I do and please help with finding clients and whatever. It is about actual connection. It's what I've been talking about now with regards to connections on LinkedIn, that you need to make that personal connection before any other business. And that's what this network is about. You get to know the people as if it is South African clients based across the world. Based across the world. This is your in for an international footprint.
Yeah, and guys, it seriously has been the people that we've met, that Yvonne and I have met, just, you know, like for a random reach out for something, we need this. And she goes, hold on, let me check on the network. And we have these, I mean, these people that we've met, they are influenced, like it is, like they've got so much backing, they've got so much, you know, understanding of where they are, and they know how to bring you in. And if you're looking for, you know, it's just literally opened up South Africans to the world. And the funny thing is, when you start dealing with people, they're all interconnected, you know. So like John Watson, for argument's sake, who I know, you know, I heard about the Lekker Network from him. Then when I got involved with the Lekker Network, all of a sudden, one of the founders, I went to go and I bought, like, this sounds so crazy, but his wife was making customized Christmas crackers, right, for Christmas. And it's not your typical Christmas crackers. So it was literally, I must actually go fetch the box and show you guys, because I've actually bought 2 boxes and we've kind of kept the one. But it's actually, the boxes are, they're filled with things like chappies and Rikoffie and Zamba and stuff like that. And these things blew up. She made like 100 boxes a couple of years ago and thought, you know, no biggie. She made like 3,000 boxes last year, because it just blew up. Everybody bought and sent it to their family for holidays and sent it to anybody across the world saying, have a like a South African Christmas. It was insane. And we got talking, because I went to go and pick up these 2 boxes of crackers, and we got chatting, and I was like, but you look so familiar. Why do you look so familiar? And it just, the penny dropped. He was in a school, I was in a school, we know all these people, and we were interconnected by not even, you know, like, just, you don't know how small it really is. And all of a sudden, you just know people who know people who know people. It's been insane. So if it does come out, I mean, we're punting it big time, but it is going to change. It's the likes of Bob Skinstad, Brian Habana, they're all, you know, spokespeople. It really is a great connection, you know. So if you're looking for a good network, it's going to cost you money, but you're going to get value out of it. And I think it's going to be tiered, Yvonne. I think there's going to be tiers as well. Like if you're just looking for a certain level, and then it's going to go up to, if you want mentorship, for argument's sake, which is also, you know, that's everybody in their own. Because there are a lot of people who reached out and said, you know, but how can we help? We want to teach people. We want to learn. We want to, you know, so they're wanting to give back as well.
It's going to be that. There's going to be what did we call it? Like the expert classes. So
like expert classes and things like that. Yeah.
So some of the guys that's really experts in the field, they're saying, listen, I'm doing this drive, and then they create these classes, and members will have access to these classes. So it is to have this network, like an access to like a friendly face, a warm, friendly face across the world that is willing to go, how can I help you? Because that's the slogan.
That's the slogan. How can I help?
Of the Lekker Network. How can I help you? Hi, I'm so and so. How can I help you? That's the whole idea behind it. It's fantastic. So you're not going in with it with sales pitches, but you're saying, listen, I'm running into this. What do I do? And you will be surprised who's going to answer.
Yvonne and Inga, take a breath. I need to answer non-tobacco's question, and then we'll see if there's any others, and then you two can inhale again or exhale. Non-tobacco.
No, James. It was going to be just raising a question just on the conversation, because I have 2 of the guys who are the founders on my LinkedIn thing. Somehow they came into they are members of and people started having conversations, and I think there were people who were raising the issue of how expensive it is for people to come in. Whilst they applaud the initiative, but it was just prohibitive for, you know, people who are trying to find, their feet and trying to find their way into all of the spaces. And the conversation then about they were going to have tiers and in 2025. And I think I was wondering in terms of how far that process is and when one can expect to hear about that particular process, because having had last year, the issue of how people were saying it was just, even though they, as I say, I'm repeating myself, even though they applaud the initiative, and I think it has a place in our society in this day, but the issue was just that the cost was just too much for small entrepreneurs and stuff and whatever and all of that. So that's what I was going to try and find out, getting more information on.
Yeah, I think the initial founding, to become an initial founder, that was the big cost. I mean, I think that was 20,000 rand, give or take. But that was, you were part of the elite startup group, and through that initiative, I think they raised something like 3.5 million rand. So they've got the funds to be backing this whole initiative to really build it into something really big. But yeah, they're going to make it more achievable for the man on the street to be able to join in.
Plan.
Definitely. Definitely. That's what they want to do. They want you to be able to join, Cool.
Any other questions, comments, suggestions? So you guys don't mind, let me ask you for your thoughts in terms of the process. I'll start with the most difficult person in the room, Marion. Kidding.
It has been one of the best courses I've done. And going through that early stuff where you actually critique the work that we've done was so valuable. Yeah, it's been really a fabulous course to do.
So did you like the way we did it? Because I literally changed it on day one. Because yes, it's your extra bad day. I gave you all instructions. I put you in groups, and I said to do the work. No one did anything. They all just networked. That was it. It was like, okay, clearly this isn't going to work. Plan B. But I actually think it worked out quite well. At the end of the day, giving you the stuff and then the homework, and then us kind of doing it live. Did you like that approach, or would you change it?
For me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Christelle, you next on my screen.
I loved it. I must say, I really enjoyed it. Made some really nice connections, and I'm hoping all of you would stay close to me.
Sure.
But yeah, I must tell you, I've learned so much just from what you've shared, and some tips and tricks and everything that I've implemented. I've seen such a big change in my sorry, my phone's also blowing up. Sorry, put it aside. From where I was with LinkedIn to where I'm now, it's like worlds apart. You can't, but then again, I went from an employee to a business owner, which is also a big change. So yeah, but thank you for all your help. I really appreciate it. It's been so incredible and such a good journey to be on. Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, you're welcome. Dylan, what about you?
Yeah, invaluable. I've been on some other marketing courses, and yeah, they touch and they say, yeah, you must get a niche, but they don't go into the details of how to actually find your niche, And like they'll say, look amongst your clients, which are your most popular? And like, okay, at that time I had one client. I'm like, okay, that's not going to help me. So yeah, I found this incredibly helpful. Definitely your style of presenting and your slides and your homework and that is awesome. Yeah,
Thank you.
it really was great.
Oh, okay, good stuff. Good to hear. What about you, Inga?
You don't ask me stuff like that because I'm going to be... James, you took me out of my comfort level in a big way. Like,
I think that's a good thing.
I'm a pretty outgoing person. I must say, I'm a pretty outgoing person, and I get on with, I would say, 90% of people that I meet. But this took me out of my comfort level completely. Like I just put up that wall the whole time. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to tell these people who I am. I'm not going to do this. No, 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 no. And I did it. I broke down the wall, and I have now in the process like updated and changed and evolved. And I look at my LinkedIn now and I kind of go, bloody hell.
Who is this
Like
person?
starting LinkedIn, having like I think 10 connections in, you know, and in 2 months, 2 months, I think I counted 300 and something, 350 connections.
Okay, good stuff. And they're the right connections.
They're the right connections. Look, you know, I'm starting to, it's almost 350 connections. They're the right connections. But the funny thing is, I'm now stumbling into those scenarios where, you know, you get the spam. People are connecting with you because they want to spam you with stuff. And I'm learning from that. You know, I'm learning from that. I answer messages that are approachable. I ignore messages that aren't. Because if you're not going to be approachable, don't tell me what are you busy with. Like, I'm not telling you what I'm busy with, buddy. You know, that's none of your business. But having the connection, so I've learned so much, and I'm kind of like using it more as a tool. And I've actually, what you were showing earlier, I've been doing for a while. But that's why I really like the professional version. I can't afford it, but you know, one day. But to be able to do that, because I'm able to send 5 connections with notes, and then the rest are just connections. You know, you kind of just, I'm just allowed to do connections, and that's what I do. If I've used up my 5. But it has definitely changed. It has definitely taken down the barrier a little bit, you know, because ultimately the person on the LinkedIn isn't a bot. It's a person, you know, and I'm reaching out, and I'm really reaching out, you know, there's real connection. So I think that was what it, except that my LinkedIn profile looks beautiful if I compare it to other people, you know, because you sometimes see really nonsense ones. I'm also, it did take me out of my comfort zone, and it broke down a lot of barriers for me, which I think, yeah, not many people would ever be able to do that.
I'll take that as a feather then.
So yes, no, brilliant course. Loved the way, you know, loved just the way that you were comfortable, whether we could join, whether we couldn't join. I think the responsibility laid upon everybody on their own to catch up if they were behind, to put in the time and to do it and get there. But the fruits are definitely, you know, the fruits are starting to grow, and they're going to be ready to pick soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just something you said, which we should do maybe, either on our next session or a different session. If you guys all take Pranita up on her Sales Navigator, which you should, because it's 2 months for free. It's legitimately for free. Like LinkedIn will not bill you during that period. You will need a credit card to sign up, but you can cancel before, and they'll send you reminders. So you should do that. If you do that, if you guys do that, you should coordinate it, and then we'll do a session on Sales Navigator, because there's some very cool stuff you can do there that I couldn't show you because you didn't have it. That would definitely take you guys to another level. So if you're going to get it for 2 months, let me show you how to maximize the living daylights out of it for 2 months.
Okay, let's do that.
So maybe that, if you guys have also sort of got it, and in a month's time, that would be the thing to do. Unless if you guys want to do it earlier, somebody just message me, mail me, whatever, and we'll put something together. So okay, Yvonne,
What?
how did you find it? Let's have some feedback.
No, I think I've been your absolute worst student. Like,
I didn't want to say anything.
I told you. I've been your worst student. I really want to do it. I've got all the stuff. I see the value. I've like tried to because my own stuff is always at the back end, and I'm really like Inga knows exactly what's going on at my desk. It's meeting on meeting, and it's deadlines that needs to happen now to drive results for other companies, and I don't have like all the time to do it for myself. And it is fantastic that I can, on a weekend, take the stuff that you've done this week. I feel so horrible having to be here, but it's like literally so I can download the class and the information so that I can save it up. And then when I have the time to actually do it, because Inga has been doing it and she's been like pumping me to get it done. Because she's feeling the results. And I'm like, if I can tell myself to get that person onto the thing and get it done, I would. I promise you I would. So it's not that I don't want, and I think the value that you've provided for this group of people for free is, you don't get that. You don't get that. When you get something for free, you know you're the client. That's the rule, right? That's the rule. So if there's no free lunches, you know you're the client. But in this case, in this training session, it was all for free, and it was real. It has real value. The information that you're providing is stuff that I've always wanted. I knew I could make use of LinkedIn more properly, more streamlined,
more effectively. Yeah.
More effectively, yeah. But it's just everybody's like, there's so many people out there that goes like training this and LinkedIn training this. Like, talking to me about LinkedIn training the other day, and I was like, dude, please just step aside. Doing it already, I will implement. He's obviously looking at my profile, going like, oh my God, this woman. But I promise you, I will, because I have the stuff, and I have made sure that I get all the stuff so that I can implement it. It's just like, I think it's the phase that I'm in with everything that I'm launching, and that is on me. And I slowly, and with my hood in my hand, I'm apologizing for that, but I want to be here. I really want to be here. It was just deadlines on deadlines. Like, I had a deadline today. I had to sit and do this. I was while I'm listening to you guys.
There you go.
Another choice. I don't have another choice.
Okay, Marian's got to go. So thank you, Marian. Thanks for letting us know. We will chat soon, in a month's time, if not sooner. All right.
Just a bit of fun to end with, being in my mind. I put a picture, my LinkedIn picture, into ChatGTP. Oh no, it wasn't. It was another one that was linked to Canva, and I was given the option to adjust my profile pic. That's what it came out like. I'm like 30 years younger.
I'll take that.
In the chat, that's great.
I was going to see the original picture.
You're going to share your screen with us?
It's in the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat.
Check in the chat, you'll see it.
The original picture.
That's cool.
And it changed it to that. My husband says he doesn't even recognize that person.
That's
I'll
cool.
take that.
Anyway, let me finish up. Non-Tobacco, tell me about your experience, good, bad, or indifferent.
Well, I think before I do that, James, please send that part one, because I really don't want to feel that missing last week's session, has just shortchanged me and undermined this process.
No, don't worry. I'll upload both of the sessions a little bit later. Yeah. Do not stress. They will all get there.
Okay, because anyone who talks to me about, the practice knows about you.
Oh, that's good to hear.
They may not know what to do with that at the moment, because maybe they're waiting to see the results on my part before they can start looking for you. But I think because truly, it's just the excitement, looking forward to these Wednesdays, because every time, I think I sent you once a note to say, really, you have pushed me beyond anything I've ever had to do in my life, and in a good way. And I'm grateful for that. And it really has pushed me and forced me to look at things I didn't want to look at. And I think mainly because, as I said to you back in the beginning, in the profession, we come from a history of you shut up, and you just, if nobody talks about you, that's it. End of the story. And we could get into serious trouble back in the day, you know, for doing that. So
You
to
can
come
still
back
a little
and,
bit.
come again?
You can still a little bit. You guys are weird in your
No,
profession.
but back in the day,
but
I
yeah,
mean,
no, I know what
really
you
now,
mean.
when I look at what people are doing, it's crazy.
Mm.
And I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know how to deal with that. And so that's why it was safe for me to see, you know, the limits and the limitations, the boundaries and stuff and what have you. And you did that for me, and I'm forever grateful. And for anyone to do this, you know, for free, I'm thinking, who does that? And I'm hoping that you also have in the process gained a lot in terms of what you want to do going forward. And
Yes.
and I see part of the potential. I know your mind is just running, you know, like crazy, and you see things that I couldn't even see, even if I tried to.
Wait till you see some of the stuff I show you in the next few months.
Yes, I believe you.
I'm
And
building scary
but
stuff
I
at the moment.
really I've grown, and I mean the amount of work I've done in the last weeks, just in a sense of I'm really ready to go out there, you know, and go full on this thing and make it work, and be able to stay in the testimony to sort of say, this is how it has worked for me. So I really and truly am grateful. And I'm grateful to everybody as well, because I think it's just, you know, everybody coming with their perspectives and everything, you know, that gets you thinking, you know, and applying your mind even more in terms of, you know, how one can make this work, you know, for oneself. So thanks to everybody, and particularly to you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Lamuli.
Hi, James. Sorry, I'm not 100% today, but I had to come for the last one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which apparently is not the last one after all.
The never-ending story just revealed my age. But anyways, so no, man, like it's amazing, James. You know, many times when you get invited to training where they say it's free, usually you are the product, and there's like this curtain that the trainer does not really open. They keep telling you what's behind the curtain, but they don't actually open the curtain. And I'm shocked at how much you actually open the curtain, to the fact that we can actually go on and get these leads, and you are like, yes, that's exactly what I want you to do. Usually it's, I will show you how you could get these leads, and then it stops, and then it says, okay, this is when you pay. So that is very rare and very commendable. And as I was listening, I thought of something, because I think certain ideas come and you not aware of the actual source of those ideas, and where they germinated. Then when you, in hindsight, because what I'm doing now, which is working quite well, and actually it's a way that I am scaling into WhatsApp groups and communities and like that. In what I did was, I took the book and I cut the first 3 chapters and asked the designer to add a cover and the back cover, and I'm just sharing that. And even on my socials, even on LinkedIn, when I post, my first comments that I post then is that PDF thing. And people are reading the PDF, or some are just opening it and saying, hey, where do I buy the book? Some are reading it and say, where do I buy the book? So I thought that came from a YouTube video, but in hindsight, I think it's in the element of give, open the curtain enough so people know that this is great. And whether they buy or not, that's fine. And some will, some won't, etc., etc. So I think it actually stems from going through this process, in terms of, because when I'm sharing this with other authors to do, they're like, but so many chapters. And I'm like, well, there's still another 10. And the nice thing is it's working like a cliffhanger, because it ends, it's like, okay, I need to need this. And what do you do then? Then you buy. So I think there's a lot to be said. And today I was reading Proverbs, and I think I forget which one because I'm not a pastor, but Proverbs, some chapter, it says, give freely. Those that are generous or those that give freely will become wealthy. And I think in the capitalist and this world we find ourselves in our times, we kind of trained and told that, no, you must hoard and make sure that they pay, etc., etc. So I think what you're doing is a big testament of planting a seed. And one of my revelations was that where you plant the seed might not always be where you harvest, but you will surely harvest somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think at times when you see some of these YouTube people and these other, gurus apparently, there's so much of this thing that you only plant where you're going to harvest. You must make sure, and they've lost that spirit of giving. So thank you for that remembrance. And then on the not so great side is I've just kind of had a tumultuous start to the year, but things are settling. So I watched the video of that connection message. So I need to, and I like how it's natural and you made it feel natural. So I just need to do my one. And yeah, my personal thing is that okay, I'll start the reach out thing next week, and then very excited that at least we now have a month thing to get back on. So yeah, man, no, brilliant, brilliant. I think it's worth a lot of value and a lot of money, and for you to do it for free this day and age, it's very rare.
Thank you.
But
Appreciate it.
definitely, yeah, thank you. Very well done, sir.
You're welcome. And lastly, my personal secretary, Andre.
Again,
You
sorry for
guys, you can laugh. You guys wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for him.
again, sorry for being undercover. I'll sort my camera out. Yeah, James, I think I was sitting and thinking, I think it's close to 20 years that I've been on LinkedIn, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I never knew what the hell was going on there. And it wasn't for lack of trying. I've actually early last year, I've signed up for a Udemy course and paid for the guy. And halfway through, I just left it because he had no idea how to get the message across. I was just lost. And I think with LinkedIn, you need somebody to take your hand and open the doors for you so that your mind opens, because you freaking, I couldn't figure it out myself. So, and I think once you on the pathway, then you can start helping yourself. But you need to get to a certain point. Otherwise, you're just running into a wall. And as the other guys have said, and quite often people use teasers to free teasers to pull people into a paid version. But the depth that you shared for free is unbelievable. So I hope and I hope you're achieving your goals for doing it, because really I can just say thank you very much. It was amazing. It was an absolute amazing, and I hope we're gonna have a further walk along this path of getting clients and making money.
All
Thanks,
good.
James.
Oh, you're welcome. So quick question for you guys. As I said, this went completely different to what I had originally conceived, but what I realized from a relatively early stage is that most of you guys were actually more interested in learning the LinkedIn side than necessarily networking. So all of those other things would potentially be benefits that come along with it. So if we assume that that's the case, if I did this again, like because this was quite long, it doesn't have to be this long. We could get there quicker than we did. It just happened because of the format. I think in hindsight it worked quite well. But would you imagine you do this again and you're thinking, would you do it the same format, or would you want it to be done quicker or slower, or was it just right, as Baby Bear said?
Can I
think
can I-
right.
Who's first? No one. Okay.
No, that's fine. I said I think it was right.
You do you, Darwin. I'm listening to you. I'll speak after you.
No, you go.
Purely from my side, James, I think there are parts of this thing that you have to take slow. The the parts on how to identify your network, the part of how to articulate yourself on LinkedIn. You need to take that slow because it takes a little time to wrap your head around it and really grasp it. And I think what would have helped me to be more engaged with it was if you said, right, this is your homework for this week, but you need to get your stuff through to me before our next meeting. And then have that feedback done per person, because we're a fairly smallish group, have each one's feedback done per person already beforehand, so you've got yours. And then when we're in the class, you can take the feedback that you've given for everybody and then give that through more concisely. So the value is more on a global scale. I think a lot of time was spent like literally in class reviewing things, which we need, because I mean, you think you're doing it right, especially that section. You think you're doing it right, and then you go like, no, and then we start pointing it out, like, okay, let's rethink that part. To maybe have that section done beforehand, especially, I think I would pay premium for that, in the sense that you get that one-on-one, more one-on-one, but also the value of the feedback from everybody. If I'm making sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
That's what I would. That's the only thing I would change.
All right. Any other suggestions?
James, I think the homework is quite hectic, so you need time to do the homework if you really work on it. So I wouldn't do it like faster or more sessions in a week or whatever the case may be. I think it was for me it was perfect.
Okay. I must say it turned out better than I had anticipated in terms of the way that it went. Also, it's well, you haven't seen this because I've been contemplating some of the stuff, and I'm in the process of building some of it. Where I think, particularly with AI, some of it I can make easier. It's interesting. I'm doing another group at Momentum at the moment, so I'm dealing with younger advisors in the space. So they're quite naive, and there's a lot they don't know. And so some of the detail that I went in with you is like, do I go there? Is it, are they able to grasp it? And then I'm building out now these GPTs, and I'm thinking to myself, if I give them the GPT, do they lose out on really understanding what's going on? Because actually it's easy. Like I've given them the cheat sheet, but everybody wants the cheat sheet, so you got to build it. But it's quite an interesting one. So for the people that really want to understand and to know, yeah, this is definitely the way to go. But I can see some people just want the cheat sheet. But it's interesting though. Yeah. What's that, Yvonne?
For me,
Always looking for ways faster, quicker, faster, get stuff done faster.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not always better. It's not
Yeah,
always.
it's not always better. Yeah.
okay. I think whilst I have been engaged from the beginning, I think I understood later why you said at the beginning that it was better when people were falling off, and that you wanted a small group. And I think I then became more convinced later that actually it is the best thing to have a smaller group, because the issue of the feedback is just, for me, it empowers you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you look at how one is, dealing with the issues.
Oh, you've muted yourself, Rebecca.
Sorry. Okay. I don't know, when did I mute myself?
3 seconds ago.
I don't know what that means. But anyway, but just to say, I think the smaller the group became, I think for me, the more value, one, got at a personal level, out of the process. So it helped me to understand why you said at the beginning, because we were a big group. When I look back now at the size of the group, and with the group then, becoming smaller, the value has been just immense in terms of the input. I do not know if I would temper with the time that it took for you to get us to this point, because I think depending on where people are at, and I struggled at the beginning to just be in this thing fully, because I was dealing with my own baggage that I was coming into the process with. So the fact that it has taken this long has helped me to get to the point where I was comfortable to understand the value that I'm getting out of, coming out of that cocoon and just, allowing myself to be. And so in the process, so I think it would differ from person to person, but for me, I'm generally grateful for the time that you have taken. As I say, as the group has gotten smaller, I've seen even more value, because we've been able to, around the table, engage with each and every person at the table to get their inputs and their thoughts. Even when people hadn't done their homework, they still had to apply their minds in terms of what they think about what you've been dealing with, the previous week. Yeah.
So, question for all of you, ponder this for a second. If I was to charge for this, same thing, what would a fair fee be?
I know a friend of mine did a course that didn't go half into this much detail, and she didn't get half as much out of it, and she paid 10,000 rand.
Okay.
But yeah, I couldn't pay that.
7, 8.
Yeah. Estelle, what do you think?
I think I agree. There are some really pricey courses out there that you wouldn't get half as much value from it. But if you're going to reduce your course to an 8-week time frame, then I would say like 2.5. And if you want to do the 12-week process, then obviously you would charge more. I think that would be for these newcomers, people that's leaving school that don't understand. I think that's a comfortable fee to charge. And then obviously for people that's employed higher up in, you can then decide on a higher fee, but not 10,000. That would be, sorry, that's just my view. People wouldn't pay that. It needs to be like the gold, a super, I don't know, you have to get like gold plated gift bags with that. I don't know, but that's what my thinking is. Anything between 2.5 plus, for 8 to a 12-week course.
Okay, cool.
Something to think about.
Montebeko, what about you? Oh, I don't know. I do not know if it is possible again to talk about, tiers in terms of how you bring people into the process, because there are people that you want to help. I remember at one point you saying, there are people who are even clueless about, what they want to do. And you'd like to touch those people. You'd like to contribute, to their lives. And people who are clueless, because they don't even know what they don't know, are going to be reluctant to pay. So I guess in some way, if there's a way in which you can reach those who don't know, and at a reasonable figure, kind of, and what have you. But you can go close. I might not get to 10, but I would get to 7.5 comfortably to those people who understand, kind of what it is that they really need, don't know how to get it, and the value that then they would get out of this process. The challenge is that people only see at the end of the process. You see at the end of the process the value that you've gotten out of this, and I mean, it's just, it's, yeah. it just boggles the mind when you think a person could give you this, for nothing. And you think, wow, and all of that. But at the same time, there's still the opportunity to just improve people's lives who are sitting at a level where, they really, as I say, I'm repeating myself, they don't know what they don't know, and really want to help them, get to that level, where they can become something, because now they understand, the value that is within them, and as you unlock that. And so if you can then tier that, I do not know if it is possible. I would think for me anything between 3 and 7, and all of that. Again, if you're dealing with a corporate environment, that's again a different conversation, because I think those numbers, can look even better and in that space.
Okay, thank you. Mamuli?
So I'm off the bat, I'm thinking somewhere between 5 and 7.5, I think would be a fair number. A thought though that came to mind is how much is a monthly membership of Sales Navigator?
$1,250, $1,250.
So for me, it might be, it look something like, because what I do sometimes, I have my price point and then I include the book, but I know that the cost of the book is included in the price point, right? So I would do maybe month 1, and then in month 2, the cost includes a sales navigation membership of a month, or you get a professional and then you give them, that 2-month free thing, so that it actually translates them to the sales navigator and they start the process. I think that format there might be something for that. So yeah, I'd say 5 to 7.5 and include a month of Sales Navigator. Either it comes out of that fee or you get one account and then share with the attendees, pretty much like what Prenata said she was offering.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Andre, what do you think?
Yeah, I think if you pitch it high, people are going to be hesitant to say, well, is this going to work for my buck? So I would say break it up in smaller modules, like 5, 6, 7 modules and each of those modules must be able to stand on its own legs. It's like a little portion that you do and a little portion that you do. And then you charge less. You charge like 800 Rand for 2 sessions, for instance. I'm just sucking a number out of thin air. And as you and for 800 Rand, people are going to go, that's not too bad. I can try it. I'm not going to lose a lot of money. And I think once you pull people into module 1 and module 2, they're going to go, this is hectic. Yeah, I'm going to continue and get the rest of the modules. Because if they don't know you and they don't know the value of what you do, to have a 6, 7, 8,000 Rand price tag, people are just going to go, no, I'm not going to take the chance. And maybe people can say, well, I can afford 800 this month and 800 next month and 800 next month. So it's I think break it up in smaller modules and not eat the whole elephant, and that way you will pull people in and pull them through.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. See, we all have lots to think about. Anyway, I also want to say to you guys, thank you. Although it's not the end, because we'll continue. I really want you guys to go out there, but just from my perspective, also it helped me to bring a lot together. As I told you up front, it was a beta course for me, just to see what the results were. I had certain objectives I wanted to achieve. Some I did, some I didn't, and that's all okay actually, because the only time you learn is when you do. It's like, you guys, you've got all this stuff until you get out there and you start sending messages, you won't know. So you really have to do, and sometimes stuff works like you think, and other times it doesn't, and sometimes it just outright bombs, and that's perfectly fine. But it's also helped me to build out a lot of collateral, and I built it each week. I built the next week. I didn't build it all out in the beginning, so it was kind of a case of, let's see where we're at, what do I need to do. So now I sit with 13 weeks of collateral for next time, you know. So that was one of the things, and there are opportunities to tweak, etc. And it's also spurned some other ideas, which I'll probably share with you in a month's time. When we have a look at that. So yeah, it's been fantastic, and it's also been great for me to get to know a lot of you, because I've also met people in areas that I don't traditionally work in, and I often get requests for all sorts of things. And you know, when you've been through an intimate scenario with people for 13 weeks plus, it's very different to, you know, trying to make a referral of someone who you don't really know, or they just happen to be a LinkedIn connection. You know, I think that stuff counts for a lot. And you know, we've spoken about it a lot today. Not everything has to be about the money. You know, sometimes it's about the people and about giving and building the relationships. And I think that's what's happened here. And I did say in the beginning, a lot of people will fall off, and you're going to know that the people that get to the end are the people you want to be in a relationship with, that you want to network with, and that you can confidently refer, even if I haven't worked with you. We know enough about each other because we've seen the character, we've seen the work that's come out, we've heard the stories, so we actually know a lot more about each other than you might think. And so it actually becomes quite easy to make a referral with confidence, which is really, that was one of my major goals at the start of this. If I did this again and I really wanted to push that, then I think I would structure that to almost say, okay, every week everybody's got to do a one-on-one kind of thing. But you know, sometimes when you start applying rules and restrictions, then it sort of falls apart. There's a place for that. This wasn't it, but again, thank you all. I couldn't also have gone through the process and learned what I did without you. So it was fantastic having all of you on here. And yeah, who knows? The monthly thing may go on for a bit. Let's see, because I think you'll find, particularly when you're doing the stuff, because when I've run courses in the past and we've run Q&As, sort of, you know, post the actual implementation, this is the time you learn. Like the stuff that you're going to do from now on, this the real learning. And the Q&As, what happens on the Q&A, so to speak, is two things really. We share the wins, right? So you've done stuff, now you can share with the group, because you're not competitors. You share with a group what has worked for you and what hasn't. And then the stuff where you're stuck, if one of you is stuck, you might all be stuck, or more than one of you. And so there's a lot of learning. And typically what happens, I find, is that when people start to ask the questions, then I go off on a tangent, a good tangent, right? And I tend to deliver a lot more value, stuff I wasn't going to do because it wasn't in the structure, but yet it becomes important. And even myself, I don't know about you guys, but often, and I watch a lot of courses, like I'm always learning shit, and particularly in my space. I love when they record the Q&As. Like you learn more in the Q&As than you learn in the course. It just is, because once you've learned it, now you see what the real issues are. And so, yeah, let's run the monthly thing and let's see how it pans out.
Awesome.
All right. So unless there's anything else, I will see you guys in a month's time. All right.
Thanks,
Cool,
everyone.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Chat to you soon.
James.
All right.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.